let's go live to the Nationals leader, David Littleproud now. David, thanks so much for your time. I want to talk productivity with you ahead of this economic roundtable. I'm not sure what can and can't be achieved here. It doesn't seem that everyone is on the same page. Certainly there seems to be a lot of ambition. It's going to take some time though. But you've been focusing on what could come out of this for the agriculture sector. What are your demands, 1, 2 and 3?
Yeah, look, unfortunately, they're having the agricultural roundtable today in the lead up to Jim Chalmers' economic roundtable next week. No one knows who's invited. No one knows what's on the agenda because Julie Collins and the Labor Party won't release it. The only productivity that's been given in agriculture since the election has been to US beef producers and importing and making it easier for US producers to send their beef to Australia. The reality is that if we're going to talk about taxation, this superannuation tax, this $3 million tax on unrealised capital gains needs to go because primary production will be the worst hit because we're relying on the weather. And if you spend money and you don't have an income because of the weather, then you don't have money to pay for the tax, first and foremost. It's about making sure that we're protecting farmers against the big supermarkets in proper competition policy and spending the money on the infrastructure out in regional Australia so we can get our product to your plate or to a port. And none of that's happened under this government. And we've got a secret meeting today that Labor don't even want to tell who the participants are, what's on the agenda. But ultimately, there's been nothing done for productivity in agriculture for Australian farmers, only US farmers.
You're part of the Jobs and Skills Summit when Peter Dutton chose not to be. What is your role when it comes to this economic roundtable? Have you been invited? Will you be a part of it? Do you think it has the potential to start a bigger conversation on tax reform?
Well, it should, and even the agricultural roundtable, I would have thought that I showed that in a bipartisan way I wanted to be constructive. I would have thought that I could have got an invite to that part, at least. I'm glad to see that Ted O'Brien's going on behalf of the coalition to the broader economic roundtable. And I think as elected officials, we've got a responsibility to open our minds to productivity. And when you look at productivity in this nation, it's going backwards. You're seeing businesses going out the back door, and we're heading towards recession-type conditions for many small businesses out there at the moment. So I think it's important as legislators we do this in a constructive way where we can. But there's principles we shouldn't walk past. And when you're going to tax unrealised capital gain, that's a principle I think every Australian should worry about. Not just think this is about those that have got self-managed super funds, because if they start here, they'll go to trusts. And then if they don't have the courage, which what some Labor Party people want to do in terms of negative gearing, one way they may go after those with investment houses is this unrealised capital gain. So you open up a principle that is easier for a Labor Party who's running fast out of your money to get more money to keep spending. And that's the frightening thing. But we need to put clear lines in the sand, a delineation about what we can be supportive of and what we won't, but you need to look at it in totality rather than isolation.
In the context of the net zero debate going on within the Nationals at the moment, there's reports today that the federal government has delayed this very detailed economic report about severe economic, environmental and budgetary risks posed by the effects of climate change. And the inference is, or the suggestion is, that they've delayed that report ahead of its decision on new 2035 emission reduction targets. What does that say to you, and what message might that convey to people within your party that want to scrap net zero altogether?
Well, I think what we need to see first, the report we need to see first, is from Chris Bowen and Anthony Albanese around what the integrated system plan is going to cost. Their plan to go an all renewables approach. They won't release that. They won't release what the cost of an all renewables approach will cost, not just primary production, but will cost you. You only have to look at your energy bills and remember the fact that you're promised this year, from where we started in 2022, a $275 reduction in your energy bill. Instead, they've gone up by over $1,300 and continued to go up. One of the renewable zones just near me here in Orange has gone from $600 million to $5.5 billion just for 3 gigawatts. That's about $18 billion a gigawatt. Nuclear energy worldwide costs about $10 billion a gigawatt hour. So this is where, unfortunately, we haven't got any honesty, and we now now need the Fourth Estate to really shine a light on Chris Bowen and Anthony Albanese about what actually is the cost. Take away all the subsidies. Tell us what those subsidies are in the capacity investment scheme. Tell us what we're funding and what your total cost is. We put ours out there at the last election. Anthony Albanese still runs. In terms of agriculture and facing up to the challenges of climate change, we've gone down a path of mitigation when we're only a bit over 1% of total emissions. What we've got to do is look at adaptation. And there's over $1 billion a year through levies and government support for R&D organisations to make sure we use technology and science to be able to have cutting-edge genetics, both in seed and in animals, to be able to adapt to a changing climate. That's the smarts that agriculture is already at the front of. But what we do need is cheap, affordable energy. And we've got to be making sure that we're doing something sensible, not trying to achieve something that's impossible.
David, just before I let you go, you're in Orange today. Many people talking to you about the recognition of Palestine?
No, not really, but I think this decision is more about domestic populism than it is about good foreign policy. I don't think you should be rewarding terrorists in this way. I think I believe in a two-state solution, but when you've got a Palestinian Authority that cannot guarantee that Hamas will hand back those 50 lives that are being held captive by them, nor lay down the arms in Hamas, I don't see how we can think that this is good foreign policy. We are rewarding terrorism, and I think we are repeating the mistakes of more than 70 years of history, and we are rewarding this terrorism, and I don't believe that the Palestinian Authority has the ability nor the power to remove Hamas, even if they were to have democratic elections, which is one of the conditions that Prime Minister Albanese less than 2 weeks ago said was one of the reasons why he couldn't acknowledge a Palestinian state. So I don't know what's changed. The reality is that there is no moral high ground from any side in this. It is a war, and I don't think you should expect that. But we've got to get back to first principles. This was an act of terror perpetrated on the people of Israel, and to relent and to allow terrorists to think that they're going to be rewarded while they still have 50 souls in their captivity is the wrong message to send. I believe we can get there, but this is not the way to do it. This is about giving someone dessert before they eat their vegetables, effectively, and this is a bad precedent that I think is more about domestic populism than it is about good foreign policy.
David, thanks so much for your time as always. See you soon.
Thank you.